Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Chetan and we have a very special guest with us here today. His name is Rajesh. Rajesh is a very senior person and he has been working in the industry for a very long time, and he has been gracious enough to award his time for us today so that he can share his knowledge and experience, and we can pick some nuggets from those knowledge and experience and from the questions we will ask him, and we can apply those nuggets whether we are on our journey to become Scrum Masters, we are doing interviews, or we are already Scrum Masters or Agile coaches or senior Scrum Masters. There is something in this video for everyone. With that said, guys, let's get started. So, Rajesh, first of all, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and I will be happy to help. Let me know what kind of question you may have, and we can go from there.
Sounds good, Rajesh. So, the first question is, of course, Rajesh, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So my background, right? Um, I started in IT industry more than 2 decades ago. I have my master's in computer applications. Before that, I'm graduate in maths, right? And I started my journey in IT field. So the first project I did, that was for my chartered accountant. It was C, C++ when the Java came out new at that time, right? So I was a programmer at some point. Then I switched my gear and I became a tester, because at that time the tester concept came out new, and I was doing testing anyways and finding all the defects. So I was very good at it. So then I switched my gear and I was be a tester. When I started, it was all manual testing, right? So then little by little, because the technology changed and the testing market was changing too, so you should know the automation as well, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I also started learning automation. It was easy for me since I have a background in programming. So I did automation testing as well. And then I switched my gear to become a Scrum Master. So as of right now, I'm a Scrum Master. And that is my journey from starting till today's date, starting from computer programmer to be a Scrum Master.
Why did you change your journey from a programmer to a Scrum Master? What prompted you to make that happen?
So basically it's a need, right? What the
Ah,
opportunity you are getting it. So the
mhm,
first I moved from a programmer to a testing, because at that point technology was changing too fast, right? and
mhm.
uh, and to keep learning, I thought, you know what, I don't want to do that. Rather, let me do something more subtle things, in the testing that time, it was not that too many changing technology. It was not a automation at that point at all. So then I switched it to the testing. Then I learned little automation to survive. And then, yeah, when I was in agile project, right? So I had some of the very good scrum masters, and then I have some really crappy scrum masters. So that changed from good to the bad was really hurting me. So I decided, you know what, I can do a lot better job as a scrum masters. And I kind of got interest to it, because I had a few good coaches and a few good scrum masters, and they were so good and they were helping the project like to the next level. So I thought, I can use my expertise and I can become a scrum master.
That's great. So that is a wonderful journey, moving or coming from a developer role to the tester role, and then finally taking on the reins as a Scrum Master. So you have been across the plate. You know a lot, and you have a lot of experience across different sectors. That is amazing. Now, so what is so you mentioned the point that there was good Scrum Masters and there were crappy Scrum Masters. What is the difference between a good Scrum Master and a crappy Scrum Master based on your view so far?
So the good scrum master, right? So what is scrum master? They are servant leader, right? That means if you have a team, like if you are marching, you stay at the end of the march, and you take everybody with you as a team together and bring everybody on the board, right? You make the team comfortable and let them march, but you are not in front of the people. You are in the back of the people. You are helping people. You are not deciding the way where to go, but you are helping them, asking them good questions, right? So you should be serving the people, not leading the people and deciding for them and pointing, you do this and you do this. That's not what you do, right? And you sometimes you also need to come out from the scrum master role. You have to be as a you got to coach them, you got to mentor them, you got to train them. So it takes a lot to be a Scrum Master. It is not just if I can do one certification and be there. It takes a whole different personality to be a Scrum Master.
Mhm. And what are those traits? If to get into specifics, what are those traits that make you a great Scrum Master? You mentioned about leadership, and you mentioned about leading the team from behind and the coaching and mentoring. What are some other traits?
So the first thing, right, you have to be people person, right?
Hmm.
It is not what you want in the project,
Hmm.
it is how the team can do the project,
Hmm.
right? Sometimes if I know the answer as well, I will not tell them an answer.
Hmm.
My job is to guide them, to ask them the right questions.
Hmm.
You 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 want to give them a directions, right? Let them
Hmm.
navigate themselves, right? So that is the good quality you should have, and then you have to make a connection to the people. So if I have a team, right, I have one to one with each my team members, and I know each my team member personally. The reason being that if somebody is going through the hard time in his life, for example, when I was doing my first team, I had one member. We had a stand up at 9:30, right, and he will never come at 9:30. He will never be in the meeting before 9:40. So I noticed that for one time, two time, three time, four time. So instead of blaming them and telling them why you're not coming on the team, I asked him, hey, my friend, what should we do, right? What is like you getting late? So I'm sure you have some reason. May I ask the reason? I don't want to blame somebody. Hey, why you late every time and complaining. That's not my job. My job is to find the root cause. So what was the problem is that he cannot drop his kids before 9:30 for XYZ's family reason. So he cannot be there at all at 9:30, right? So then what I did, I said, okay, that is good. So I didn't want it to look him bad, so I transitioned that way that okay, I always take his turn at the last, right? I always give him a recap after meeting, and within a few weeks, I changed my meeting time from 9:30 to 9:45, not telling people the reason he is the reason. That's not what I mean to disclose that, right? I want to make my team and my team member comfortable. So what I did is I switched that to the 9:45 to make sure we are all comfortable with the time frame, and I changed it that way without anybody realizing that why we are changing the time, right?
That's an exemplary example. If you think about it, you are empathetic with him, you understand where he's coming from, you want to keep the team together. So you got his root cause analysis, got the root cause analysis of the problem, and you kind of even change the time of the thing for him. So not putting him on the spot. A lot of scrum masters, a lot of junior scrum masters, new scrum masters, what I have seen in my experience is they will put people on the spot. They will be empathetic. It's our human nature to be empathetic, but they will put people on the spot in front of the team. So that is a very smart point that you brought up, that you didn't put him on the spot, you changed the time, but didn't let anyone know why you changed the time.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, so now you have a very strong relationship with that particular person and with the team as a whole in general. That is a very great point. I appreciate that. Now, I know you mentioned something about certifications. So, one certificate cannot make you a Scrum Master. That is a very true statement. So let's say people who don't have any experience, they want to become scrum masters. One certification cannot make you a scrum master. So what certification should they go for? What should they do? What's the way out?
Okay. So, first you should know that you have this kind of quality. You are a people person. You want to help the people, not by criticizing anyone, but you are also want to help the people by acknowledging them, like taking them as a team together, right? You got to glue with the people, right? You got to
Mhm.
glue the team together. So first you got to have those qualities in you, right? So sometimes you have to let the team fail, right? Because the team to be take that responsibility on them. Sometime one failure make the team together, right? So sometimes you have to make those smart decisions. So first you should have that quality. Now one certification will not make you scrum master, but at least one thing should let you start being a scrum master, right? So for me, right, I have a few certifications. So I started with the CSM, right? That is very easy certification to take. Then I went and did a Scale Agilist, right? And that really, it is too detailed one, and I really like that Scale Agile. And after that, I did PMI ACP as well, and there was a couple of certification I did because it was I was interested, and it was I thought in my company they said, okay, we may go to on Amazon web services we're going to use, right? So I also took AWS practitioner certification. I
Mhm.
wanted to do what is Six Sigma, so I took like basic certification for the white belt.
Mhm.
And then I went to the toughest one, that was a SPC, Scale
Mhm.
Agile Certification SPC. And then
Mhm.
I also did the training enablement courses, right, for the Scrum
Mhm.
Master, Advanced Scrum Master, and for the Safe Agile Trainer as well. And the last one I did is IC Agile Coach,
Mhm.
right? So if you want to start, you can start with the CSM. That's the basic certifications. People like that too. You know, that's
Mhm.
to start with, but that's not
Mhm.
the end,
Mhm.
right?
Great. So it seems that you have a great knowledge of safe principles and safe practices, right? You have done a lot of certifications in that, and so that is amazing because for the viewers who are watching this video and people in the Agile Core community, uh, the knowledge that Mr. Rajesh has in the safe world, he will come and help us out, and he will share that knowledge with us in our community on Agile Core. And also, he will start his own YouTube channel. I'm motivating him to start his own YouTube channel where he will share that safe knowledge with all of you guys, so that you guys in the Agile Core community and the world overall can learn from his knowledge, and it will help you grow in the safe world as well, because it's very hard to find good safe concepts out there. Okay, so that's amazing. Now, tell us about your if you are starting out today, let's say you don't have any experience, clean slate, you are a person who is working, let's say you have your own business, or you are working at a low paying job, let's say a gas station or wherever, and you're starting out and you want to get into the tech field and Scrum Master or project manager, this seems interesting to you. What would you do?
So if you're asking me what to do to become a Scrum Master, if that's what your question is, then first you should have to study what the Scrum Master job look like first, right? That what is the daily routine, and are you really people person? If you have that kind of qualities in you and you like what the Scrum Master do, then you should definitely get at least one certification, because all the Scrum Master job does require certifications. Now, if you have a technical background, that is good, but if you don't have it, then you can still do it. But if you have it, it will be plus for you. So if you don't have it, it's not like you cannot do it. You can still do it, but then you start absorbing whatever the domain you will work on it. Start absorbing the knowledge. It will
Mm,
help you in future. Excuse me. Right. So that's how you start, and then you definitely need to understand how the each and every Scrum ceremony works. You know how you can do best, and you need to provide transparency. So you need to track all the progress and whatnot. So that's the starting point.
yeah. And what are the tools you would suggest that a person should learn before stepping into the game?
Definitely Jira. Jira is one of the most widely used tool right now, and it is
Mhm.
very dynamic, and it is very good tool.
And like Confluence, Jira.
Yes,
Um,
yes, obviously Confluence. So in my company, we use Confluence, we have a wiki, and we have a Jira. So we are
mhm,
using all three of them whenever we would like to use. We have some shared document. For example, if I have my retrospective, I have Jira Confluence board for my team,
mhm,
right? And I also have team norms, definition of done, and definition of ready, right?
mhm. Acceptance criteria and all
Yeah.
those things.
So acceptance criteria is a part of the user story. That's not for the board, but
Mm,
in my board we use all this our own team artifact, which
mm,
we always uh, go and do the revisions every quarterly. For example, if I have a team norms, right, if you need to make a
mm,
changes, for example,
mhm,
I have a definition of done or
mhm,
definition of ready. If I need
mhm,
to go and revise it if we miss something, right? So for example, I had a, a, a project which we never have to worry about the wireframes. and the
Mm,
mock-ups because it was not a front-end project. But
mm,
suddenly there was one section came in for the wireframe and the UI, and we never had this definition of ready. So then we have
mm.
to go and revise it and say, okay, for UI stories, we have to have the wireframe or the mock-ups in order for us to meet the definition of ready.
Yeah. So acceptance criteria also comes with the user story. So when
Yeah.
it also stays there. So you mentioned wireframe. Can you speak a little bit more on that?
Means wireframe is like a prototypes you have, like how the flow of the screen should work when you have a
Yeah.
UX UI. Like in the web page you have, if you click one page, it should go to the next page. And from the next page you click, you come to the first page. So there's like a
Ah,
flow of the wireframes, right?
yeah. And one more tool we use is we use Jira, Confluence, and I also use ClickUp in many companies, and I also use Miro board for
Okay.
visualization,
Yeah.
for designing tools and retrospectives. I've also used Miro board is also used extensively,
Yeah.
and it's also free to log in if you want to play around with that. The viewers, you can feel free to do that. Okay, so now let's talk about the safe practices. How is safe? What is the difference between, first of all, what is the difference between safe and Scrum and Agile? And walk us through the whole picture on a big level.
So you know the uh, the Scrum, right?
Mm,
The Scrum use agile principles, right? So the agile is the C, Scrum is baby of the agile, right? We use all those the agile principles, and the Scrum is just a small flavor of it, right? And the scale agile, right? So for example, if I have a one team, right? So we use the sprint and the Scrum. We use the Scrum, and in the Scrum we define the sprint, and we define our sprint length, and we use the sprint ceremonies, right? Uh, the Scrum ceremonies. If we can start with the sprint planning and daily stand up and the retrospective, the demo, and also the story refinement session as well, right? So those are the ceremonies we have, which we do it now. The scale agile is defined and designed for the very big projects where you can still have the multiple teams, right? Multiple teams are working in one product, right? But they are working on the different part of the product, and at the end you are combining all at one as a one product, and you will do the demos to the product owner. So let's say if you have a 10 teams, right? 10 agile teams, right? So you can running all these teams in the parallel sprint, right? For example, if you have a 3 weeks of sprint, so all the 10 teams are working in the three sprint. At the end of this 3 week sprint, they will go and combine this product, right? And do the demo to the product owner or the product management you have. And from there, you can get a feedback, right? So it is a huge scale where you can define the product, and the company can do the product design and delivery very fast manners and very efficient way.
okay, that's great. So safe is more of on an enterprise level.
Yep.
Scrum is more on the team level. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you mentioned product owner. So can you walk us through the different roles? Product owner, business analyst, program manager, product manager, Scrum Master. What is the hierarchy of these roles, if there is a hierarchy? Tech lead, and what are the different roles that you have encountered in your career?
So if I talk in the terms of Scrum, right, there is only two roles. There is no hierarchy, right? It is a product owner, and there is a Scrum Master, and there is a Scrum team, right?
Mm-hmm,
These are only the three part of the Agile. I mean, in the
mm-hmm,
Scrum, right?
mm-hmm,
So the part of the product owner, the role of the product owner is different than the Scrum Master and then the team. What the product owner does is he is a voice of the customer,
mm-hmm,
and he makes sure whatever the team have is is about to take to delivery, it
mm-hmm,
is maximizing the value in terms of what the customer wants. We only want to deliver what customer wants in the next. For example, if I have a 3 weeks of sprint and my sprint is starting tomorrow, so
mm-hmm,
product owner need to make sure, and he should be ready that okay, tomorrow when we commit something that should
Mhm.
deliver the best possible value to the customers. So he's a voice of customers. His job is to maximize the value, right?
Mhm.
If you maximize the value, it is the satisfaction of the customer, right? And what the product owner does is a very thin line. He want to make sure the team is comfortable.
Mhm.
We don't want to force the team to commit something which they cannot deliver,
Mhm.
right? And if the team is stuck somewhere, so the
Mhm.
Scrum Master job is to make sure that okay, the team has an impediment,
Mhm.
how we can remove the impediment, what can I do to remove the impediment, so my
Mhm.
team can work on whatever the value we are trying to deliver at the end of the sprint.
Mhm.
Sometimes you encounter something which can jeopardize our commitment to the sprint, and there is
Mhm.
it is not in my hand. So right, it is not that team don't want to do it. So in that case, you have to take that to the PO, right? As a
Mhm.
team and as an team guardian, you need to make sure that product owner understand that part. That okay, we committed this story, but for XYZ reason, we are unable to do so.
Mhm.
So due to this reason, we cannot do our commitment,
Mhm.
right? So we have to make the transparent things and why, you know. So that's how it
Awesome.
is.
Yeah, yeah. And so basically, a product owner and a scrum master, they are working hand in hand to make sure the project is successful,
Yeah.
basically, along with the tech team and making sure the team is safe and team is working fine and everything.
Right.
Great.
So when we delivered
Mhm.
as a team. We are
Yes.
not we are not delivering as a product or not delivered. No, it does not
Mhm.
happen that way.
Mhm. Yeah, great. What, if any, closing thoughts you might have? We had a really great discussion, and
Thank you.
of course, we will have more to come. We will have safe videos and more knowledge coming on the channel for the Agile Core community. What, if any, thoughts you have for the people watching and for the Agile Core community in general?
Okay. So means agile is the new way to do the project, and it is the most efficient way to do it, especially in the technology. So if you're not doing it, you should at least try once and see how it really add the value to the project. And it is a great place to be here for me as a scrum master. I feel so good when my team delivers and when my team get kudos, right? I don't take any credit as a scrum master because my job is we call it a thankless job, but
Mm,
I'm being proud to be part of the team, and my team always want, like I work with few folks in multiple projects, and they love me because the way I interact with them and the way I make sure they shines. Right, my job is always give a credit to the folks. Right, whenever retro, we start with appreciating people first. That thank you, you did this job, this job. So I want to make sure I appreciate the people whenever they did something above and beyond. It should
mm,
not be go unseen. So
mm. That is amazing, and that's the very gist of and very key of becoming a good Scrum Master.
yeah.
Amazing.
Thank-
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a really great experience having you here, and we learned a lot. I personally learned a lot from these questions and from the interview. And so let's have more sessions and let's share as much knowledge as we can with this community. And thank you so much for everyone watching. Thank you so much. And if you guys would like a consultation, if you guys want to become Scrum Masters or are already working as Scrum Masters, click on the link down below and sign up for the consultation. This is the best investment you will ever make in yourself. And I personally will help you out on your journey, whether it is related to job search or on the job. If you are facing challenges, I personally will make sure that I'll do my best to help you out. Click on the link down below right now. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful one.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.